today, the official air conditioning partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars. JP Shadrick in London. I'm Mike Dempsey here in the Hyundai Studios stateside, and we'll go back over to London here momentarily, just outside the Jaguars locker room with Bucky Brooks and Brian Sexton as we await the first word today from Doug Pederson. And where to begin with this one? So disappointing in so many categories for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who got off to a good start with a defensive 3-and-out, a 9-play drive, and maybe, as Tony, Jeff, and Frank were discussing, even though they got points on the board first, that drop by Gabe Davis in the end zone took the wind out of the sails. I don't know how to explain it, because it looked like they came out with some decent energy, but the team, to me, looked flat after that. Did get another defensive 3-and-out, so consecutive 3-and-outs to open the game was pretty positive, but untimely penalties, multiple drop touchdown passes today. Wasn't a perfect day by Trevor Lawrence. His receivers definitely did not help him out today. Has anyone covered Cole Kmet today? I don't believe it's happened yet. He's been running free throughout the Jaguars secondary and doing pretty much whatever he wanted to. Caleb Williams looked like a seasoned veteran, throwing for 4 touchdowns on 23 of 29 passing for 226 yards, 124.4 quarterback rating, and those are just some of the ugly numbers in a Chicago 35-16 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've got Bucky Brooks and Brian Sexton standing by over at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And guys, before we hear from Doug Pederson, Bucky, I'd like to start with you being there on the sideline. We watch it through television. We can't always get the feel for what's going on out there, but it really did seem like that not coming away with a touchdown on the opening drive, I don't know if that was the key, but it seemed like the Jags were kind of flat offensively after that. Did you feel that? Did you sense that when you were around them during the game?
Well, yeah, you still have a team that's still very, very fragile. You talk about coming to the game 1-4. You want to put points on the board. You want a touchdown to kind of do it. So you don't get that. You get the 3. But you kind of felt like you missed an opportunity. And for the Jaguars early, you talk about the defense really dominating the first quarter, but you don't have a lead that would be indicative of the way that you played. And so what you want to do is start fast. You want to finish faster. And the Jaguars, after a good start, they certainly didn't finish the way they wanted to.
No question about that. 4 touchdowns, as we mentioned, Brian, from Caleb Williams today. And it just seemed like early on Cole Kmet did whatever he wanted to do throughout the Jaguars secondary. I don't know what the plan was. I know they got some injuries there. Darnell Savage and Jarian Jones were both evaluated for concussions during the game. But it just seemed like they almost forgot defensively about Cole Kmet at times today.
Yeah. He got free a couple of times, Mike. But I want to go to the third quarter and get Bucky's take on this, because there was a moment where the Jaguars had a spark. It was right after Gabe Davis caught the touchdown pass, and the Bears had the ball 1st and 10 at their own 30-yard line. They got it out to the 40, and then first down, Josh Hines-Allen gets a sack. Third down, you've got them backed up, 3rd down and 8, and Trayvon Walker comes through with a sack. You're going to get him off the field, and they're going to punt with 3 minutes left to play. You're going to get another third quarter possession with some momentum, and that was when what I think is the most costly penalty of the season so far was thrown. 12 men on the field. That's a mental error, and it cost the Jaguars dearly. Instead of getting them off the field and having some momentum and halting the Bears' momentum, the Jaguars just shot themselves in the foot, and that moment to me is one I just can't reconcile.
Yeah, that's a key moment. And the self-inflicted errors from the Jacksonville Jaguars today are really costly. When you are a coach, you talk about don't beat ourselves, and so that normally revolves around turnovers, big plays allowed, pre-snap penalties, and the Jaguars had egregious areas in all of those. But that drive where we had 3 third-down penalties that extended the drive that resulted in a touchdown, it was critical. And, look, 12 men on the field should never happen.
Never.
Even in an up-tempo situation, you either stay with the personnel, but you can't try and sub personnel when they're switching it out. You can't have the holdings. You just can't have those penalties because it extended drives and it allowed the Bears to eventually score a touchdown that created more separation and really ended all of the momentum that the Jaguars had created when they closed the gap.
And there felt like there was some. Let's be honest. Caleb Williams ran 23 yards and then 19 yards on that final scoring drive of the first half. And you felt like, all right, if they can figure out, because on both of those particular plays, Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker missed an opportunity to get him on the ground. You thought, all right, if they can just go down the field and score on the first drive, and the first play, 24 yards right to Evan Ingram, and as he's trying to tuck it in, the linebacker knocks it free, and you went, uh-oh. I mean, it was a game of big mistakes by big players, right? Your big-time players made big mistakes. Gabe Davis, who you paid $14 million a year, dropped the ball in the end zone. We talked about that. And then, Evan Ingram. And then a little bit later in the ball game, it felt like it was out of hand. Trevor Lawrence, underthrew Brian Thomas in the third quarter and then threw the interception in the fourth quarter. Just it felt like it spiraled out of control.
It is spiraled out of control. And I will say this, like coming into the game, the Bears have a certain style that they play with, right? Everyone has talked about their turnover obsession. I even asked one of their coaches after the game, like, where does that come from? How do you guys reinforce it? Or whatever. He says, talked about it every day. They put charts up. The head coach talks about it. They intentionally seek out the football on every play.
But more so than any other team. Ryan Nielsen talks every week about the focus on takeaways in Jacksonville.
I guess so, but there's something in the intentionality of how the Bears play. Like, you see it
every
every
disagree.
time.
Yeah, I don't
like,
disagree.
every time they're punching the ball. And our guys had a unconscious awareness of that. You remember early in the game, Evan Ingram catches the ball and appears to fall down because he's protecting the ball rather than getting extra yards. So everyone knows how the Bears play. And so when you see so many turnovers, when the ball just pops out because they're hunted, to me it's a lack of focus, maybe a lack of attention to detail. I don't know how much time they spent on the practice field this week, but I can say that the team that was on the field playing didn't look like they had their I's dotted and their T's crossed when it came to execution of the game plan.
Yeah, and they got work done on Wednesday and Thursday, despite the fact that the hurricane, was looming. No one's going to use that as an excuse. There's no doubt. It just looked like after that first drive, and I don't know whether it was Mike that said it or whether Tony or Jeff or Frank said it during the broadcast, but I felt from where I was sitting midway up the stands that when Gabe Davis dropped that third down pass, and here's why. Because Gabe jumped off sides on 1st and goal at the 8, right?
Another penalty.
So now you're 1st and goal at the 13, but Trevor overcame it with that third down dart. That was right between the eyes. It was perfect. And he let it go off of his chest, and I felt as if you had a defense or an offense that had lost its swagger right there.
Yeah, you had a lot of things that didn't go their way. The pre-snap penalties, it was really an issue, and then you followed up with a drop pass, not the way you want to play.
All right, Mike, we're waiting on the head coach, so we have got to send it back to you in Jackson.
Yet we'll send it back to London momentarily to hear from Doug Pederson. 35-16, the final. Chicago knocking off the Jaguars. Jags fall now for the 5th time in 6 weeks. The Jaguars Radio Network, presented by UF Health. University of Florida Health is the proud healthcare partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Up next, the locker room report. Again, the final score 35-16. This is Jaguars Postgame on Jaguars Radio.
Maximize your energy savings with a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from Florida Home Air Conditioning, and you could save up to $4,500 through possible tax credits and other discounts. Purchase a new system today, and Florida Home Air Conditioning will buy back your old inefficient HVAC system. Request your complimentary consultation from Florida Home Air Conditioning, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit FloridaHomeAC.com for details, terms, and conditions.
License number CMC 1250399, CFC 1430664, EC 130-08557.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Jaguars fans, huddle up. Do you own a vehicle made in the last 10 years? If your car is outside of factory warranty or with no warranty coverage, get the best defense against expensive auto repairs with CarShield, the official auto protection partner of the Jaguars. With plans to fit every budget, CarShield helps you cover up to 5,000 parts and systems. Call 800-471-1223 now or go to carshield.com/Jaguars. That's 800-471-1223. Coverage varies by plans. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report. Our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Jaguars postgame presented by Florida Home AC. Mike Dempsey here in Jacksonville from the Hyundai Studios, and most of the rest of the crew over in London, including Brian Sexton and Bucky Brooks. We're awaiting word from Doug Pederson on his postgame thoughts on the way things went down today. The Bears win it 35-16. And guys, Bucky, start with you here. We talk about these mental errors that they're making, and you know, you're responsible for the mistakes you make it there on the field, but is there some disconnect with the coaching staff not getting through to these guys in these crucial moments? Where do we point the finger of blame? I think there are enough fingers to go around today. There are enough people to blame, but particularly on the mental errors, where does that come down?
I think it's a combination of everything. I think it's when you look at the players that are on the field, particularly in the secondary, you have a bunch of young players there, and sometimes no matter how much you tell them and how many times you repeat it and tell them situation, when they get between the lines in critical moments, they just have farts. They just lose focus on what the main thing should be. And the only thing about being a young player is the only way you get better is you have to go through the fire in the game. And we have to kind of live through those things and hope that they don't hurt you. But they have to play because you don't have anybody else that you can put out there because some of your main guys are not available yet. And you hope they're able to go through those growing pains and become much better later in the year.
You know, at one point, Bucky, it looked like the linebackers were struggling because they were caught in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ventrell Miller made a ton of tackles, and Devin Lloyd did as well today, but it appeared that he was able, Caleb Williams, the rookie quarterback from the Bears, was able to attack underneath at will. He hit one to Rome Odunze. It looked like there was nobody in the area.
So here's the dilemma, right? And here's the dilemma that I hear when I hear Jag fans talk about, oh, we got to go from man to zone and zone to man and those things. There's no perfect defense, and you have to be willing to concede something. So when the Jaguars decided to play more zone today, what you're saying is we're willing to give up the checkdowns, and we'll let you dink it and dunk it. But once you get to the red area, we'll tighten up. And so what you saw the Bears do, you saw a lot of dump-offs. You saw a lot of quick screen passes to DeAndre Swift and others, and they were picking up yards on the ground. The thing that you have to do when you're in zone, though, is you have to limit the yards after catch. You have to be really tight in the red zone. So when you do get them down there, you force the team to kick field goals, not touchdowns. And when the Bears had red zone opportunities, they found a way to punch it in. Even though it was a great throw against Devin Lloyd where he threw to Cole Kmet on the back, Keenan Allen on the back shoulder in the middle of the field. Cole Kmet catches one in the corner. If you're going to be a team that plays more zone, your red zone defense has to be very, very thorough. It has to be on top of it. And right now, we're not getting that combination. So you're stuck in no man's land. Not quite good enough to play man, not aware enough and not fast enough to close quickly in zone, and so it's an issue.
All right, so next week, as they're practicing for the Patriots out at the Grove, they can get Tyson Campbell back on the field. They can get Andrew Wingard back on the field. They can get Deshaun Gibson back on the field. If you wanted, you could wholesale change out your secondary. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you at this point?
Well, I think you want more experience out there. And one of the things that you talk about, when you have a lot of inexperienced players, you don't know how much they play ball, and you really don't know how much they understand situations. It's an underrated aspect of playing great defense, understanding down and distance, third down. You talked about the penalty that was critical, 12 men on the field. 12 men on the field.
Worst penalty the Jaguars have had thrown on them this year.
But then another one on that same drive, like it's a 3rd and 6, and you have a defensive holding.
You had two of those on Ronald Darby.
Ronald Darby, an experienced player, but understanding, hey, they're watching me in the back end. I got to make sure I'm really tight with my technique. I cannot have a penalty because extending those drives are killers. Not only from, they have to stay on the field, but from an emotional standpoint. Remember, the team is still fragile, 1-4. You're looking for good things to build upon, and those extenders just crush all the momentum for a team that appears to be very, very fragile from a mental standpoint.
Speaking of extenders, would Foye Oluokun have made a difference today on those scrambles where Caleb Williams got free? It appeared that both Josh Hines-Allen And Trayvon Walker, they pushed the pocket, and then, boy, he squirted free. He had one to the right for 23 yards, and then later on that drive, got outside to the left and went for 19 to set up first and goal. Is that a linebacker problem? Is that him exploiting just the defense because it's set up that way?
It all goes together, the rush and the coverage. So in those moments when you're saying, okay, we want to be a little tight on the wide receiver, so let's go man to man.
And you had good coverage on those
had
plays.
good coverage, but the issue is you now don't have anyone on the quarterback. And because the Bears personnel, let's be honest, their 3 wide receivers are legit. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. So now you're worried about them. You then worry about the tight end, Cole Kmet, and they have a running back in DeAndre Swift who is a burner. So you have all these things that you're worrying about in coverage. It's hard to say, hey, we're going to stop everything in coverage, rush the quarterback, and also have a spy on the quarterback. You just don't have enough people, so you have to pick and choose. And unfortunately for the Jags, they got caught in one twice when you're in man coverage, he leaks out, picks up big plays.
And then when you do have a chance at the quarterback, which we knew coming in, he was not going to get hit very much. He's so elusive in the pocket, and even when he's not in the pocket on the run, he had the presence of mind in the fourth quarter to look back to the middle of the field and find Kmet. So, I mean, gifted guy. But when you do get there, you got to get him on the ground.
You got to get him on the down. Now, here's something that was unfortunate to happen. It showed up early. So the Jaguars finally had an opportunity to go different personnel packages, right? So they went to a dime package with 6 DBs on the field. More speed on the field to better match up with the perimeter. The first quarter, they showed dime. It was like a dime 32 package. They had 3 D linemen, 2 linebackers or whatever, but they had their dime personnel on the field. Jerry and Jones, Darnell Savage get hurt. So now all of a sudden you're back to your base personnel, some nickel. You get out of it, and as a play caller, sometimes you forget to go back to what you had early in the game plan. You just wonder if you don't have those injuries, even though they came back,
right,
does it impact the way that Ryan Nielsen calls the rest of the game?
What is the identity of this defense if you don't have the guys that can play man coverage, whether they're injured or whether you're looking at Ronald Darby and you know he's a stopgap guy and he got those 2 holding penalties. I mean, can they do what Ryan Nielsen wants to do?
Well, one of the things that you do as a coach is you have to adapt and adjust to your personnel.
Okay.
And you have to look at what you have. Now, the thing about, like, when you're a zone team, and everyone has to understand that, if you're a zone team, you're going to concede yards. It's much like being a Colts fan or a Bears fan. You look up at the scoreboard, the Jags have more yards than – I think the Jags have more yards than the Bears. But they made the plays when they needed to make them on third down, and they made them in the red zone. And so which way do you want to – do you want to die a slow death, meaning bend but don't break, or do you want to be aggressive and – get after the quarterback and see if you can force turnovers that way? It's a stylistic choice that you have to make, and you have to be willing to live with the cons that come with whichever style that you pick.
All right, let me flip it over, and let's talk a little bit about the offense. And I just want to put it in the most simple terms possible that, that anybody who's watching can look at it. Bucky, it looks as if everything is tough right now for the Jaguars offense. And you flip it, you got a rookie quarterback out there, and everything he did today seemed easy. I know it's oversimplification.
No, it's not.
But how did the Jaguars get to a position offensively where with all the weapons that they've got, they make things look easy?
Well, first thing is you go through the quarterback. You got to figure out what the quarterback does really well. Secondly, you then have to rank your offensive personnel in terms of who deserves to get the touches, and then have a pecking order. So if that pecking order right now, as we say, is Brian Thomas Jr., Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, then everybody else gets theirs when they get it. And your priority is I call the plays to make sure those guys get the ball while my quarterback is comfortable with the concepts that they're running. That's how you marry it together. You get confidence doing it. That's what they did against the Colts. It's the same thing you should do against a team like this.
All right, Mike, we're going to throw it back to you. We've got much more to talk about, obviously, and the head coach will come in and have a conversation with Bucky at some point in the near future. But for the moment, we're going to throw it back to the Hyundai Studios and the Miller Electric Center, Mike.
You got it, Brian. Thank you very much. 35-16, the Chicago Bears knock off your Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags fall to 1-5. Bears improve to 4-2 on this young season, although not as young as it used to be. And the Jags, as you heard the guys at the end of the game broadcast discussing, probably in that 2% range of teams making the playoffs who start 1-5. They just need to worry about beating the New England Patriots instead of talking playoffs at this point in time. All right, coming up next, we'll take a look at some of the performers that stood out today for Jacksonville and try to find some hope moving forward here. 35-16, Bears knock off your Jags. This is Jaguars Postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents in 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Something happens when you begin to believe. What seems way off in the distance gets closer.
You focus on what needs to get done, and you'll let nothing get in your way.
Next year becomes this year, and maybe next time becomes now.
A whole city will rally behind you and begin to believe too.
Because when you believe, the unbelievable can happen. We believe in justice for everyone, and we believe we're the attorneys to help people get it. Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Postgame presented by Florida Home AC. Call Florida Home AC today, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mike Dempsey in the Hyundai Studios here stateside as Bucky Brooks and Brian Sexton have been holding court over in London at Tottenham as we await the arrival of Doug Pederson to the postgame press conference area, and we'll get word from the Jaguars head coach, some of his thoughts on today's performance. Guys, what do you do as a coach or a coaching staff to kind of, make sure that this doesn't get away from you any worse than it already has, guys? I mean, I think we've seen some flat performances by this team this year, and you can wonder why they haven't shown up with more energy. But now at 1-5, with another week away from home, it'd be an utter catastrophe to lose to this New England Patriot team the way they've been playing, but I don't think you can put it past them. So how do you get this team refocused and re-energized to play after another disappointing blowout loss?
Well, look, the disappointment is, but I think you have to own it. You have to wear it. And in this league, it's a week-to-week league. You get your team ready to play next week. You focus on having a good week of practice. And I think for everyone involved, right, as much as we want to hit the panic button and those things, the season is long. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to the halfway point in range. Sometimes in range is 3-5, 4-6, whatever. You want to put yourself in a position where you can get hot down the stretch. And the only way that you can do it is you got to do the work on the practice field. And you have to be humble enough as coaches to understand what's working, what's not working. How can I get my team playing fast? And it may be a reduction. Let's simplify. Let's cut down some of the stuff that we're doing on offense and defense, and let's just see if we can play a clean football game and see what that looks like.
Bucky, both Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson talked in the spring when they signed Eric Armstead, Darnell Savage, Gabe Davis, Ronald Darby, right? None of them are playing all that well on the field, but they brought them in here to also be able to steer the locker room. Let's be honest. You're 1-5. You're going back to the Grove this week, and you're not feeling really good. You may have read that the Jaguars' chances of making the playoffs since 1990 at 1-5 are 2.4%, right? Mm-hmm. You got to be a pro. You got to push through it. Mm-hmm. That's what these guys have to do. Now, how do they do it? How does a guy take over?
Well, I would say this. One, the leadership has to come from inside out. It has to be from the guys that I would say are homegrown guys. So more so the Josh Hines Allen, the Trevor Lawrences, even Chris Kirk, but more so than the H. And then it has to be, man, before we even think about next, we got to focus on having a great practice today. Right. And I really think, like, people talk about cliche and one play at a time or whatever. It literally is one play at a time, one day at a time. Let's see if we can knock off the Patriots and see where we are. Then when you get back home, you focus on the next game. I think you just have to avoid trying to look too far out in advance and literally just focus on, let's see if we can climb our way out one game at a time to get to December to give yourself an opportunity to maybe play some meaningful football games.
All right, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network. And we're back underneath Tottenham Stadium, waiting for head coach Doug Pederson. The Jaguars fall in really disheartening fashion today, 35-16. At one point, Caleb Williams led 5 touchdown drives in 6, right? Jaguars trail 7-3. Caleb throws a pick. You think, all right, here you go. The defense steps up. And yet the Jaguars, for everything they did on that opening drive that looked so effortless, so smooth, they had it going, right? I mean, there's 31 yards the rest of the half and 3 straight 3-and-outs, and they could never get it going. So let's go back to the offense for just a moment. What can they do? What do you see that they can believe in, that they can trust, that they can go out and do? So now, listen, everyone who's listening is going, I didn't see anything today, right?
No. But here's what I would say. I would say let's treat it like a shooter in basketball. Let's just say that you have a kid that is a really good basketball shooter, but he's in a slump. The first thing that you would tell him is like, let's get some layups, and let's move from layups to mid-range.
Right.
Let's move from mid-range to maybe a little deeper. Then we start shooting threes. Going back to last week with the Indianapolis Colts, when you think about the way Trevor started, check down, quick pass, check down, quick pass, check down, quick pass. Oh, Brian Thomas Jr. over the top. And then you reset it and you do the same thing over and over and over again. Because the last 2 teams that we played, the Indianapolis Colts and the Chicago Bears, they want to play a bend but don't break style. They are banking that they will be more disciplined and more patient than you will be as the quarterback. And as the quarterback, your job is to be, I'm going to take the check down. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to force it up the field until they give me an opportunity. The Bears live on turnovers, but the reason those turnovers happen is because they know that most quarterbacks will lose their patience. They'll try and fit one into a tight window, and then you see an interception over the middle of the field. They'll try and hit one in a tight window, it bounces off the hands of the wide receiver, then they pick it off. And so what you have to do, everyone has to be committed to, we're going to take the underneath stuff, everyone get as much as you can, get down, and methodically approach the game as opposed to big play hunting, which is when some of the big turnovers and mistakes happen.
So let me give you the numbers, and you tell me how well he played until things got out of control. Trevor was 23 of 35 for 234 yards. He had 2 touchdown passes, one of which when the game was still competitive. He threw the interception when the game was out of reach. His passer rating was 91.8. I thought on the opening drive, Bucky, he was going to have a big day. And the play that told me was that first down run to the right side, right, where he pumped and then pulled the ball down. He held the defense. I thought he was in control and aware of everything that was going on. And then it seemed as if once Gabe Davis dropped the ball, the offense started to struggle. What did you think overall? Not saying a grade, but where Trevor Lawrence stays.
So it's funny because I was making notes throughout the game, and I'm looking at these notes, and I have pre-step penalties 2 times on the first drive. Brenton Strange and Gabe Davis had that. We had a drop in the end zone, Gabe Davis. We had some missed tackles. Now we come back. We throw the ball to Travis Etienne on the check down. There's a fumble, but it's overturned. But still, from a mental standpoint, now you're like, oh, okay, here we go. The Bears switched the game. They went tempo on offense. They were able to do it. We had an interception. So coming at halftime, we were like, okay, let's do it. Right away, fumble. Then they score. Then you have an opportunity. You score. You stop them. And then 12 men on the field. So what I'm reading back, a lot of self-inflicted, a lot of mistakes that prevented you from having the sustained momentum that you want. And so as much as everyone will say, well, Trevor has to play better, a lot of times he's a victim of circumstances.
Right.
Like guys putting the ball on the ground, those things, like it ends drives, and it's not his fault that some of those mistakes are made.
Well, one of the reasons why I bring it up is on that first play of the second half, he stood tall in the pocket and delivered a beautiful ball to Ingram. Ingram makes a move to the inside. You can see him trying to tuck the ball as he goes to the ground.
Pokes.
and the guy nails it. That's not Trevor Lawrence's fault, but you can see where, his shoulders just. Now, he went in and made the tackle on the guy who picked the ball up and ran it back, whose name I can't recall at this moment. But you should see when he got up, he just didn't. It was just like, oh, here we go.
Now, that is the part of the thing that happens when you're losing. When you're losing, holding on to positivity is really, really hard, right? It's hard to be positive and optimistic. It's hard to look at the glass half full when things haven't gone your way. And because you have 4 games, 3 of those in which you lost by a total of 12 points coming into this game, where you've had these little things, there is a sense of a black cloud hanging over your head, like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Now, I would say from a mental toughness standpoint, Jaguars have to be able to fight through that.
Yeah.
And it has to be talked about, it has to be nurtured, it has to be coached, and it starts not only from the players, but the coaches have to be positive, like, hey, we can do this, we can fight through this, and all of that. And so I would say it's a total team effort. If the Jaguars are going to turn this around, it's players and coaches making a commitment to turn it around.
Bucky, I noticed this last year when things went south. They couldn't fight through it, which, again, is why they went and brought in Mitch Morse and Gabe Davis and these guys who had been there to help kind of turn that mentality around, and yet they still lack something. You can read it in any self-help book these days, listen to any positive speaker, and the word resilience comes up. This, right now, is not a very resilient football team, and my question to you is, can they become one?
So Angela Duckworth would say that grit is passion and perseverance. So, one, you got to love the game, and you got to believe that you can bounce back from those things.
You just brought up
the only people.
All right, let's shoot, folks. Do you feel like this team just right now hasn't figured out how to overcome adversity? It seemed like after the first drive, the drop touchdown, it kind of snowballed.
Yeah, those are things that we have. Yes, to your point. That's kind of the obvious, right? Right now, those are things that are sort of plaguing us, right? And it's the the mistakes, and then being able to overcome the mistake. And those are the things that we have to obviously take a look at and correct.
How do you feel like Trevor did today, given all the other circumstances, the drops, all that kind of stuff?
He played tough. It's he's just one man, obviously, and we've got to play better, all around, everybody, and he included. He knows that. There's ownership in that. Coaches the same way. I take full responsibility, obviously, but we all need to be better.
Doug, in hindsight, do you feel that the schedule change, maybe not even the play, but more so having to move things in practice last second, impacted your guys' preparedness for the game?
I don't.
It's a 1-5 start. Where does this defeat leave you as head coach, do you think?
Defeated, obviously. I feel for the players and the coaches. We work extremely too hard, to be in this position. I feel like the guys are, they don't quit. They keep fighting. We got to figure out how to just get out of our way, and just play football. I think I say that and it sounds easy, but it's tough. It's a tough game to play, and we didn't expect to be here in this spot, and hey, now we gotta find a way to get out of it.
Do you think Wembley next week is must-win for you?
I would say so. I would say everything here on out. Quite frankly, if we want to get back to playing the type of football we know we can play, you're going to have to win a lot of games, moving forward. So. I would say that, yeah, these games moving forward are just that.
Do you believe you still have the backing of Shad Khan?
Say that again?
Do you believe you still have the full backing of Shad Khan?
I do. I was just with him, and I do.
In your opinion, what's the first point that the Jaguars should improve to change this reality that you are facing as a team?
How do we change it?
Yeah, your first point that the Jaguars should change to react or change this losing streak.
You're gonna have to. I apologize. I didn't.
What do you think think that would be the first point that you would change as a coach to change the losing?
It's hard to put a thumb on it or a finger on it 30 minutes after a game. It's something I'll have to consider and really dive into, I think, these next couple of days before we get back on the field. But your point is taken.
Look, how important is it that you are all together here in London for a whole week to enable you to prepare for the next game?
I think it's huge for us, to be here as a football team, to be around each other, support each other, keep encouraging each other. There's nowhere for us to go, we're at the hotel and we see each other every day. So we gotta support each other and keep picking each other up.
There was penalties today at crucial moments that were detrimental to the team today. What can you do as a team to ensure that stops moving forward? Yeah,
those are penalties that really hurt. Again, it's the guys are taking nothing away from the players. I mean, they're playing hard, right? They're putting everything out on the field. And we keep talking. We keep showing them. We'll we had the 12 men on the field, and that's a substitution change. I mean, it's something, I put that one on us as coaches. That's on us, So everybody has a piece of this. It's not just coaching, not just player. It's all of us, and that's where it has to start.
A couple more real quick.
What's the latest on Travis Etienne? Obviously, sat the second half, hamstring issue?
No, I haven't talked to our trainers yet, so I don't have any updates on medical yet.
What positives can you take out of today?
Great question. I'll say this. I mean, we've talked a lot as a team. I mean, I know it's a small thing, but we haven't really started football games well this year. We've given up points and we've been off the field. I thought today was a positive, right? We got them off the field early, and then offense went down and put points on. I mean, we dropped a touchdown, but we still put points on the board. I think that's a step in the right direction, and look, I could probably give you a better answer in a day or two when I look at this tape, but that's a start.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks.
A couple more players here shortly.
Increasing that degree of difficulty. Chicago wins it 35-16. Doug Pederson's wrapped up at the podium at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and we'll be with Bucky Brooks momentarily as we'll send it out there now. Bucky with the head coach of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
There's just a lack of focus maybe in general with this team right now?
It's a lack of a lot of things, but focus can be one of those.
What do you feel like went wrong the most today on defense?
Penalties and not getting off the field, things that we've been struggling with all year, and then the penalties, we kept them on the field for one drive with 3 penalties. And they ended up eventually scoring. So, being ourselves as well, got to correct those.
What would you attribute those to? Just penalties, I guess, not today, but, well, including today, but going back throughout the season, just the fundamental errors that keep popping up?
I mean, I think, again, outside of the penalties, if you look at the play, we were getting off the field. So we did a better job up front of just, getting to the quarterback, getting him off his spot, all being there. It was just the penalties. I can't really speak on, what put him in that position to feel like he needed to be there. But at the end of the day, we still had to, respond and still get off the field, and we didn't do a good job of that today.
It's a 1-5 start for you guys, and now what is needed to turn things around and get back to winning ways?
Sense of urgency, must win. We know we have the trust in everybody in here, but the sense of urgency needs to pick up, the passion, the love, the reason why we do the things that we do need to pick up a little bit more. And it starts Tuesday once we get back to practice and, focus on the Patriots.
What do you feel like Caleb Williams was able to do well against you guys? Why, the contain, it seemed like it was working out, and then he kind of broke free near the end of the first half, and then at the end of the game you were able to get some sacks. But just what did he sort of do?
I mean, he's going to make plays. He's done that all year. Like you said, I think the first half, outside that one drive, we did a good job of keeping him in the pocket and getting hits. But he's going to make plays, and, kudos to him.
Now that next week is must win, do you guys as the players see that the same way?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Thanks, John.
Size, whether it's like pre-snap penalties and all this other stuff, like it is the strangest thing to see the best players not doing the things that are like very routine and mundane that are always done in practice in those things. And look, it's more of a statement than an answer. I really don't know, because on the side when I'm looking, it's really beyond belief to kind of watch it play out in games. But now you have a week to get your team ready for New England. Like, what is the first step to kind of putting this one to bed and being able to cast your eyes towards a better performance against New England, even though it doesn't matter who you're playing?
I think honestly, I think we need to spend time looking at this one. There's some tapes, there's some games where you maybe you don't spend time watching it. I think this is one we got to watch. I think this is one we got to show our players. We got to keep showing our players. We got to keep coaching. We're not. Listen, there's another game coming, whether we like it or not. There's still, what have we played? 6 games. So we play 17 game schedule. So
yeah.
We got a few more games left.
Right.
So nothing. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for us. Nobody's gonna say, okay, but we've got to change. I say we. It's all of us, coaches, players, everybody. We have got to change right now that culture. And it's otherwise it just gets out of control.
Right.
We're on a slippery slope. We're right on the cusp of that slope, and at some point we've got to. We just have to. Enough is enough, and you got to have enough pride and figure out a way.
Well, hopefully we have a good week of practice, and next week.
And we will have a great week of practice.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is you just got to keep going. You've got to keep going, and we're not going to go get a bunch of new players.
No.
That's not what you do in this business. You don't do that. We got to get the ones that are hurting. We got to get them healthy. Hopefully a guy like Tyson Campbell comes back and can help us. We got guys like Foyer who's still sitting there. He comes back, Dewey's in a coach. So I'm not saying we wait till then, but at the same time, we've got to keep going. And we got to keep practicing. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep working them hard, coaching hard. Listen, we got to take ownership of it. This is what we're putting out there.
Yeah. So shoot, Coach. We'll see you next week. It'll be a better result.
All right, thank you, guys. There's Bucky Brooks with head coach Doug Pederson. They're going to break it down over there in London, but we'll keep it here in the Hyundai Studios stateside as we continue along with Jaguars postgame. The final score, Chicago knocks off your Jacksonville Jaguars 35-16. Final stats check coming up next. This is Jaguars postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Facing cancer takes a lot of determination, strength, and support. And you'll get it all at Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center. Determination from world-renowned doctors, giving you specialized treatment with cutting-edge technology and research. Strength and support from a dedicated team, caring for you completely, during and after treatment. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Appointments available at baptistmdanderson.com.
Today's highlight is brought to you by Toyota. At home or on the road, they're never the underdog. Toyota, let's go places. Lease a new 2024 Toyota RAV4 LE Hybrid for $359 a month for 36 months. Offer valid through November 4th, 2024. Well-qualified lessees with approved credit through Southeast Toyota Finance. $36.58 due at signing. No security deposit with select equipment. $350 disposition fee. Excludes tax, tag registration, title, and dealer fees. See dealer for details.
Something happens when you begin to believe. What seems way off in the distance gets closer.
You focus on what needs to get done, and you'll let nothing get in your way.
Next year becomes this year, and maybe next time becomes now.
A whole city will rally behind you and begin to believe too.
Because when you believe, the unbelievable can happen. We believe in justice for everyone, and we believe we're the attorneys to help people get it. Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Postgame presented by Florida Home AC. Mike Dempsey here in the Hyundai Studios, and the rest of the crew over across the pond. Right now, it's the Jags fall to the Bears 35-16. Time for a look at the final stats coming out of today's game. They're not going to be any better than you think they are from a Jaguars perspective. The Bears outgaining the Jags 25-17 in terms of first downs on the day. The plays were almost dead even. Jags had 60 snaps on offense to the Bears 61. The Bears outgaining the Jags, though, by nearly 100 yards, 373 to 278 on the day. And overall threw for 221, 210 for the Jags. That's cumulative on the day. Turnovers, Jacksonville had a pair of them. The Evan Ingram fumble, the Trevor Lawrence interception as well. Andre Sisco had a pick of Caleb Williams for the one interception for the Jaguars defense, the one turnover for the Jaguars defense today. Penalties were clearly in Chicago's favor. The Bears only were called for 2 penalties for a total of 10 yards. The Jags called for 8 for a total of 43, but several ill-timed ones, as Bucky and Brian were discussing earlier on the postgame. Jags cut it to 21-10, and on 3 separate occasions, they get the Bears off the field on third down, only to extend it once with 12 men on the field, and then 2 defensive holds by Ronald Darby that extended that drive, and ultimately Chicago put it in the end zone and really didn't look back from that point forward. Individually for the Jaguars today, Trevor Lawrence, 23 out of 35, 234 yards with a pair of touchdowns and that one pick we mentioned, a quarterback rating of 91.8. Mac Jones, 1 of 1 off the bench for 6 yards. Caleb Williams, 23.
Right here before the Trevor, do you feel like today there was sort of a lack of focus, maybe collectively as a team?
I didn't sense that. Obviously, the way the game turned out and some critical errors really all the way around would point to that. I felt like we were ready to play. I thought we had a good week. Obviously everyone deals with the travel over here. Chicago had to do it earlier in the week too. So I thought, even considering that, we had a good plan, good week. Felt like we were ready to go, and then obviously it didn't go our way. Didn't make enough plays, didn't execute, and had just too many mistakes. So I guess I can't say that it wasn't that, because I think that definitely can contribute to that. So yeah.
I know he bounced back with some scores later in the game, but how was it a momentum killer? I guess maybe Gabe's drop touchdown on the first drive after getting the 3-and-out defensively and then marching all the way down the field.
No, it's football. That happens. I missed a couple throws tonight too, so it's going to happen. Obviously, you want those guys to catch every ball, and that'd be great, and they want to catch every ball, but that's just not this game, and you're going to make mistakes, and stuff's going to happen, and we end up getting a field goal, and it's 3-0 us. So, yeah, we'd love to score, but it's a long game. I think as a team, we can't be so fragile. It's not going to go perfect every week. Most weeks aren't going to go perfect. You're going to have to sometimes dig yourself out of a hole. We got down in the second quarter and had an opportunity to come out at halftime and didn't take advantage of it. So, no, I don't think that was – I mean, obviously, you look back, every play matters, and we had plenty of mistakes. But, no, I don't think that was a huge momentum shift. Obviously, you'd love to make it, but, no, it's on all of us.
Trevor, is there any way back from 1-5 for the team and for the head coach?
Yeah. We got 11 more games, so there's definitely a way back. We got to, me pumping us up isn't going to do anything up here, so we got to take care of business on our end. But yeah, it's a long season, and we have a lot of football left.
Are you still playing for Doug?
Am I still playing for Doug?
The team is still playing for Doug,
yeah. That's our head coach, and we're a team. And look, this is tough. Losing is hard, and it's hard. So, but it has nothing to do with that relationship, how we feel about coach, and we're a group. We're staying together, and we know brighter days are ahead. We just have to keep working. We have to keep putting our best foot forward, and we just got to stick together as a team. We got to play more complementary. We're not playing good team football right now. So whatever the answer to that is, we got to find it quick. But yeah, there's no thought of that on my mind.
What gives you confidence going into next week's game?
Gives me confidence. I know, what we can do as a team. I've seen it. We have some really good players, a lot of playmakers. We've had I'm speaking offensively because obviously that's my side of the ball. We've done it before. I've seen us pull ourselves out of holes bigger than this. I mean, it's challenging, but you can't look at it as all this stuff that we have to do. We just have to take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time. That's what we said before the Colts game. That's what we said before this game too, and it didn't go our way, but that doesn't mean you jump ship and you quit. It's one game. I mean, it's a long season, and I've been through a lot in my career. I've lost a lot of games, and we got to change that around here, and but we have to be the ones that do it. We have to take accountability. We have to go play well and find a way to win. It's not going to go perfect, but just find a way to win in the end and put yourself in position to. That's what sucks is today we didn't have a chance to because we made too many mistakes. So, those games always definitely suck.
What positives can you take as an offense after a tough loss today?
I thought we actually did a lot of things well. I thought we were better on third down. We weren't able to run the ball as good as we wanted to based on a lot of different things. A lot of factors go into that. I think the way the game went and us having to become kind of pass heavy towards the end to try to score quick, that's a big part of it. But I thought we did some really nice things. Like I said, better on third down. Thought we had a good plan for this defense. It's a good defense. And like I said, it was just the mistakes that kind of started to accumulate, whether it was turnovers or it was just assignments, little things here and there there's enough blame to go around for everybody, and including myself. So there's plenty of that there. But it seemed like our plan and our plays were there, and we made a lot of them, but then we made some crucial errors too. It felt like when we got some big plays, we would have some penalties or we'd turn it over, and then we didn't play complementary. When the defense got a stop, we didn't score. When we got a big kick return, we didn't score. When we turned it over, they went and scored. And that's the quickest way to lose in this league is to not take advantage of your opportunities when you get that momentum. I felt like we didn't take advantage of it today.
After the fumble by Evan, how pleased were you with them bouncing back the very next series with two very crucial catches in that next drive?
I mean, I'm not surprised at all. Evan's a guy I got a lot of trust in. Obviously, it's good to have him back. He made some big plays today. And like I said, we can't be – and that's why I'm talking about fragile as a team. Like, we can't – yeah, he had a fumble. He knows that. He knows that, that stuff shouldn't happen and that can affect the game. But it's one play. So you have to bounce back as an individual, but also the team around you has to pick you up. And, offensively – we got to go make more plays next time we get the ball. Defensively, we got to get a stop. It's on all of us. So there's going to be mistakes. And we had 2 turnovers today, which didn't help us. It's harder to win that way. But you got to be able to overcome stuff too. You can't just say, all right, we don't want to turn the ball over. So what happens when you do turn it over? Do you just stop playing? So, I think that's a big part of it is, he's a very resilient guy. So I wasn't surprised to see how he bounced back. And I know he's beating himself up, but it's not on him. I mean, it's one play in a long game, and you got to be able to overcome some stuff.
Do you learn more about yourself and the team after a defeat like
that? Yeah, I think how we respond is the biggest thing. And, good thing is we play next week. We get another opportunity. We're staying here. We're not going anywhere. So you guys get us for another week. But, yeah, you'll learn a lot of just the way we respond. And we have to stick together. And obviously you want to watch the tape and take all the accountability and really figure out what you can do better as an individual, as an offense. Just take it for what it is and then move on. You know, by the time Tuesday, Wednesday comes around, we have to be moved on to getting ready for New England, because that's another game. This league, it doesn't slow up. You play a good team every week. So whatever we can do to get our minds, our bodies all ready to go and play well on Sunday, that's the biggest thing, and that's all we can do, and just take it one game at a time.
All right, last one over here.
Following up with what you said earlier, does it feel like this team right now has to play close to perfect in order to have success? You can't make a mistake because it kind of snowballs from there. Does it feel like it'd be perfect?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't think that you can't play that way because you're never going to be perfect. Did it feel that way today? Yes, because it did snowball. So I think that unfortunately it happened today, and we let those mistakes kind of accumulate and just pile on. But you're never going to play perfect. So if you're waiting to play perfect, you're not going to win a lot of games. So I think as a team, we do have to be better at overcoming adversity. And when things don't go well, you want to start fast, and I thought we started pretty good today. We got 3 points. Obviously, we love a good touchdown. We got 3 points. Started off, we got a stop before that. And that's been kind of our problem in the past, was not starting. So we did that today, and then we still had some of these mistakes creep in. So whatever it takes just to play full 60 minutes as clean as you can. And if you do make a mistake, just go make the next play. And you don't have to do more than your job. I think that's a big part of it. And I'm talking to myself too. I know as a quarterback, sometimes when one play doesn't go right, the next play it's happened a ton in my career where I try to make the play the next time and make it worse because I'm trying to do too much and I'm not just doing my job. So I think that's a big part of it too, that we have to do as a team and just control that aspect of it. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
MD Anderson Cancer Center, and we know that every patient is unique. So you'll have a plan created by world-renowned doctors and tailored to your needs. And everyone here will support you every step of the way, so you're physically, emotionally, and spiritually strong for the journey. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Visit BaptistMDAnderson.com.
At Publix, you can tackle everything from pregame prep to postgame cleanup with prices that are never out of bounds. This week at Publix, save $10 with a digital coupon when you spend $40 on select P&G products. Tackle everything from pregame prep with brands like Crest, Head & Shoulders, and Old Spice to postgame cleanup with brands like Bounty, Dawn, Tide, and Febreze. Clip your digital coupon now. Available at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, Power Boost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans covering repairs on up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call 800-471-1223. Coverage varies by plans. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Hey fans, it's Tyson Campbell, cornerback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This season, your game day is getting even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium. And every time we get a pick, you'll score. If the Jaguars get one interception, you'll enjoy buy one, get one free pizza at any Al's Pizza location Monday through Thursday after the home game. 2 interceptions, a free dessert. And 3 interceptions, that's a free appetizer. Just tell them you want the Jags pick. Up your game and get your Al's Pizza at the game or any of their locations.
Jaguars postgame presented by Florida Home AC. Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios over at the Miller Electric Center. Tony Smith over at Everbank. The fellas in London packing it up and getting ready to settle in for another week of practice as they'll take on the New England Patriots next Sunday in Wembley Stadium. Time now for the injury report presented by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good. The first one we'll take a look at here wasn't the first one that occurred, but Travis Etienne at one point was listed as questionable with a hamstring injury, and I don't believe we saw him on the field after that. So that's definitely one we're going to have to monitor throughout the week. Tank Bigsby didn't get a big workload either in this football game. Dearness Johnson kind of closed it out, but it may just have been that they realized if Etienne's going to miss any time, Bigsby's going to take on a big workload in the weeks ahead, and this game was out of reach in the fourth quarter, and Dearness Johnson got some of that run just to keep the other guys a little bit healthy. At one point, Darnell Savage and Jarian Jones were both simultaneously being evaluated for concussions. You had your two best options at nickel corner off the field, and the Bears, took advantage on a few plays there. I believe they both were able to return to the game. We'll keep an eye on that and see if anything develops out of it. Darnell Savage and Jarian Jones, again, evaluated for concussions, and didn't get an official word on what Anton Harrison was dealing with, but he was definitely dealing with something, maybe an ankle, maybe a knee, who knows. It was some kind of a leg issue that had him kind of limping around in the second half. So that's going to be another one we're going to have to get word on as the week plays out, and we'll see if he's able to practice when the Jags return to the field. So those are the ones of note that we've got here for you today, and maybe the Jags are lucky that it was only that short of a list today. Coming up next, we'll preview the Jags and the New England Patriots. Final score today, the Chicago Bears won it 35-16. This is Jaguars postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Today's highlight is brought to you by Toyota. At home or on the road, they're never the underdog. Toyota, let's go places. Get 3.99% APR for 36 months on a new 2024 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. Offer valid through November 4th, 2024. Zero down for well-qualified buyers with approved credit and financing through Southeast Toyota Finance. $29.52 monthly payment for every $1,000 financed. Excludes tax, tag registration, title, and dealer fees. See dealer for details.
Jaguars postgame presented by Florida Home AC. Call Florida Home AC today, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Final 35-16, Chicago knocks off your Jags. The Jaguars Radio Network presented by UF Health, University of Florida Health, the proud healthcare partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mike Dempsey here in the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. Tony Smith over at Everbank. And Tony, the Jags now fall to 1-5, and you heard Brian and Bucky talking on the post game about resilience. Is this team resilient or not? And as Bucky said, really the only ones who know that are the players themselves. But I've got to think this loss particularly deflating because I'm sure the team was talking about the same kind of thing that fans were. Hey, if you can come back from London with a couple of wins, get to 3-4, we'll hit the reset button and we'll see where things stand. But now, after losing in this fashion and this, after the opening quarter really being dominated by the Bears, you got to wonder just how resilient they're going to be.
Yeah, I think this is a football team at this point, Demps, where if they were going to be resilient, today was the day where they had to show that. Right? Like, we've seen them have plenty of adversity in different situations through the first 6 games of the season now. They've been able to overcome it once last week against Indianapolis, and they were only able to overcome it because they created a 17-point lead that they gave away in the fourth quarter against Joe Flacco and the Colts, and were able to hold on. Trevor was able to put together one more drive, and they were able to get the game-winning field goal. In every other situation this year, when they faced some kind of serious adversity, they've come up short. If they were going to be a team that was going to be able to fight through some of these things, I think at some point we would have seen them do it. To this point in the season, I have very little confidence that this is a team that's going to be resilient enough to even win 2-3 games in a row at any point in this season with the way that we're watching them play right now. I think next week is certainly in more doubt than we all thought it was before we began today, when we were talking a little bit about maybe they win back-to-back in London and get this thing turned around. But at this point, my goodness, it's so far off the rails for this football team in 2024, and you still got to go out 11 more times. It's not like the calendar is going to be kind to you. They're going to keep playing the games.
Right, and Drake May's getting a game under his belt today, although not doing a whole lot with it so far, but at least we'll have some starting experience when he leads the Patriots against the Jags next week. I feel like I kind of fit in with this Jaguar team right now because in my athletic career, for what it was, Tony, I was pretty much a practice all-star. And that's what Doug Pederson makes it sound like these guys are. Oh, you should see us execute in practice. And he's exasperated. I don't know if I've ever seen a coach at such a loss for why his team doesn't take that play on the practice field onto the gridiron on game day. But that's where the Jaguars stand right now, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the final, 35-16, the Jaguars fall to the Chicago Bears. For those on our flagship station, 1010XL in Jacksonville, stick around. The Scoreboard Show is coming up next. And for those on the network outside of Jacksonville, you can join us on Jaguars.com or the Jaguars YouTube channel. For Bucky Brooks, for Brian Sexton, JP Shadrick, Fred Taylor, Tony Smith, and our entire crew, I'm Mike Dempsey saying good night. 35-16, or I guess good early afternoon, as the case may be. 35-16, the final. Chicago over Jacksonville on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Welcome to the Jaguars Scoreboard Show. This is your chance, Jaguars fans, to sound off about today's game. The Jaguars Scoreboard Show is brought to you by University of Florida Health, Farah and Farah, Baptist Health, and by Everbank. Now, waiting to hear from you, here are Mike Dempsey, Bucky Brooks, and JP Shadrick.
All right, it's me, Mike Dempsey, along with Tony Smith today with you on the Scoreboard Show as the folks in London are packing up and heading back to the hotel and trying to lick their wounds and regroup and get back out there for another one next week. That one will be a home game for the Jags in Wembley Stadium against the New England Patriots. But today, the Chicago Bears played like it was a home game for them, which it technically was. 35-16, they win it. They really won it in the second quarter with those touchdowns that they put up on the board to take a 14-3 lead at the half. Although the Jags kind of got into it at 21-10. It was 21-3 before the Jaguars scored their first touchdown of the game. But at 21-10, had three different opportunities where defensively they had gotten the Chicago Bears off the field. And each time the drive was extended by a Jaguar penalty. In fact, a couple of them back-to-back on 3rd and 8. They get the 12 men on the field, so it's 3rd and 3. They still get off the field, and they've got a defensive holding, and they had another one by Ronald Darby, both of them by Ronald Darby, later in that half. Plenty of mistakes on offense, plenty of drop passes as well. Some missed blocks. Saw Anton Harrison absolutely get abused at least once by Montez Sweat. Now, Harrison did look like he was playing a little bit gimpy in the second half. Not saying it's an excuse, but it could be a mitigating factor on that particular play. But regardless, look, you got to just accept the reality right now. As somebody said on social media I saw out there, they said, well, the Bears came into this not having beaten a good team, and they still haven't beaten a good team. Well, I have to agree with that. And Doug Pederson, the head coach of the Jags, agrees with that as well. He told Bucky Brooks in the postgame that we're just not a good team right now. And I think that's pretty clear for all to see. You got your one win against the depleted Indianapolis Colts team. Look, we'll take the win. Absolutely, we will take the win, and we'll take the continued domination here in Jacksonville over a division rival. But that is it. They have failed in other close games to come up with the key plays at the key moments, and twice now they've been absolutely dominated, once by the Buffalo Bills and once today by a rookie-led Chicago Bears team. Caleb Williams throwing for 226 with 4 touchdowns today, and really hurting the Jags with his feet as well. Throughout the course of the game, he ran for 56 yards on 4 scrambles. That is twice as much as any Jaguar back was able to post today. Dearness Johnson led the way with 6 carries for 28 yards. So you felt like coming into this game, you wanted to be balanced. They always want to be balanced, but you felt like you got to kind of run the ball a little bit on this football team. And because they've got a decent pass rush, they've got some good cover guys, even though they're a little bit beat up in the secondary. And the Jags really didn't get that running game going very much today. Dearness Johnson, late, averaged 4.7 a carry, but it was nothing that stood out when the game was still in the balance. Tank Bigsby got bottled up, 7 carries for 21 yards. And Travis Etienne picked up a hamstring injury. 3 carries, -1 yards today for Travis Etienne. He did not catch a pass out of the backfield. Evan Ingram returned with 10 grabs. So there's a lot to dig into today and a lot of blame to go around. And I'm sure a lot of you want to weigh in on that, and you're certainly welcome to here on the Scoreboard Show. If you want to get in, as always, the number 800-355-NFL1. That's 355-6351. And all that we ask is you keep it relatively clean. Get it off your chest with a comment or a question, and we'll see where things stand. Jags fans, can't make the game? We get it. You can easily donate your Jaguars tickets to VetTix military veterans in the community through the Jaguar ticketing account page. Select more on the ticket page to select the game you'd like to donate. VetTix, tickets for troops. When we return, we'll check in with your phone calls and see how you feel about this. I guess the good thing is you still have the rest of the day out there in front of you. 355-NFL1 will get you on board. Chicago beats Jacksonville 35-16. This is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in Miami and Houston. Watch them win in Philly, Detroit, Nashville, and Las Vegas. All the other Jaguars games are just one short connection away. And if airport parking has you stressed, be sure to visit the Jax Airport website before traveling to the terminal. On it, you'll find information about the status of on-airport parking in real time. See if your favorite areas are available or if you need to call an audible. Visit flyjax.com for more information.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey fans, it's Tyson Campbell, cornerback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This season, your game day is getting even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium. And every time we get a pick, you'll score. If the Jaguars get one interception, you'll enjoy buy one, get one free pizza at any Al's Pizza location Monday through Thursday after the home game. 2 interceptions, a free dessert. And 3 interceptions, that's a free appetizer. Just tell them you want the Jags pick. Up your game and get your Al's Pizza at the game or any of their locations.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Chelsea here. Another month and another high utility bill. Those old windows and doors might be the culprit, letting valuable energy escape. At Renewal by Andersen, our energy-efficient windows and doors have the latest advanced technology, keeping your home comfortable all year round. Renewal by Andersen has a limited-time offer. Buy 4 windows and/or patio doors and get the 5th one free. Plus, enjoy 0 money down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Some restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for all the details. License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome back. Mike Dempsey here in the Hyundai Studios on the Scoreboard Show. The number 904-355-NFL1, 355-6351. We'll get to your calls here in just a second. A reminder, when we wrap up, it'll be Hacker, Coach Campo, and Big Circe with the 5th quarter going deep into the afternoon today, commiserating with all of you out there, as we will probably be doing over the next 40 minutes or so. So let's find out what's on your mind. Again, just please try to keep it relatively clean. You can bring the passion if you've got it. Matt in Orlando going to let bat lead off for us here on the Scoreboard Show. Matt, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. Thank you for accepting my call. And today it's kind of a somber call. I'm kind of used to getting beat down. But the fall from grace, we need a Netflix documentary on this. It's the confidence that I see in the team. I see them get off the field. All I saw was white jerseys on the floor all day. And I'm really kind of tired. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know. I saw 3 drop touchdowns. I guess my question, guys, I'm just going to leave it at this. At this point, I'm just tired of it. You know, it is what it is. And, I'm still going to be Duval till I die. But it's just, what do you guys think it is? Like, is it the locker room? Is it something? What is going on? Because the confidence on that team is just falling hard. And I'm just trying to figure it out. So it's hard for me, guys, to hear you guys here in Orlando. So I'll just take your answers off the air.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. You can call it confidence. You can call it lack of execution. You can call it lack of fire at times. Look, Tony, Doug Pederson's at a loss. He's with those guys every day. He sees one product throughout the course of the week, and he can't figure out why that is not translating to the field. I certainly don't have the magic answer to this, but it's got to be incredibly frustrating to Jaguar fans. I think this roster is better than it's shown, but in the end, what they say in the NFL is you are what your record says you are, and they're arguably the worst team in the National Football League right now.
This is a conversation that is as old as football itself, right? A bunch of bad teams with whatever is going wrong, whatever series of events come around that cause you to just have no success. You're looking around trying to figure out where can we point the finger, where can we blame for why the things that we expect to be happening for this football team aren't happening right now. And I think in the end, we come back to the same spot at this point, don't we? They're just not very good right now. And there are so many areas where they're just not good enough right now. And you combine all those areas together, and what you leave yourself with is very thin margins to have a chance to win week to week. Not thin margins to win week to week, but to have a chance to win. They've created 4 opportunities to win this year. They've won one of those games. And that's just where they're at. You know, it's They are as frustrating a football team as I can remember in our time, covering this football team. I can't remember one that has frustrated me more than this one. I haven't been more frustrated this season than I was on those couple of third down penalties that you mentioned. That was as angry as I've been all year at the football team, that kind of thing can happen to an NFL team when they finally had a chance to maybe get something turned around today. I mean, it's absurd, but I think it does point to where they are right now. I don't know how you dig yourself out of that hole. At some point, you got to climb and stop digging, but that's just – that's the same thing as it's all fixable. We can figure these things out. It's all correctable. That's the same kind of nothing thing to say. They just got to be better, and I feel like there might be pieces in the room to allow them to be better, but I'm not super confident that they will be with what we've seen through the first month and a half of the season.
Yeah, but I think that is why it's so frustrating, is because the expectation was they did have some pieces here. Look, even as disappointing as last year ended up, they were 8-3 at one point playing for the number one seed, and injuries befell them. And yes, they didn't come through in the clutch when they could have won one game down the stretch to win the division. The year before, they did win the division. It started slow, but they picked up. So you're like, all right, we've seen it play at a decent level, certainly an above 500 level each of the last couple of years. So you come into this year, you give the big contracts to what you think are your foundation pieces, and you add free agents and draft picks, and you plugged holes, and you get a new defensive scheme and a new coordinator, and you feel like, okay, we're going to take the disappointment of the last couple of years, we're going to squeeze that out, and we're going to get down to the essence of what is good about this football team. And I still think there's a lot of this, the makeup of this team that is still around, and that is why it is so frustrating. It's one thing when you go into the season and you're like the Patriots, and you're like, hey, you know what? We hope for the best, but realistically, we don't have the horses to get it done. I think the Jags do. At least I did think that they do in the AFC South. Not looking like that right now. Let's go back out to the lines at 355-NFL1 and welcome in Steven in St. Augustine. Steven, you're on the Scoreboard Show. Go ahead, please.
What's going on, guys? I've been listening for about 6 months because I'm new to the area. I grew up near D.C. as formerly a Redskins fan, now unfortunately a Commanders fan. So you want to talk about some dark days as a fan. How much time do you have? But it's frustrating because I've always had a lot of respect for the Jaguars. Number one, because I think our last good QB we had on the Redskins or Commanders was Mark Brunell, so that should tell you something. I have a lot of friends who are Jags fans. It's just, I moved down here with such hope to be in an area where there's actually a winner, and it changed because now there's actually a winner up north. And I don't know what's going on with this team, but I remember watching in a hotel room last year them play the Ravens, and it makes me think of an old quote of Bill Walsh's, "We will never get out-hit in a game." They look like ever since that point, they've just, I don't know if it was before that too, but like they've lost any swagger they had from that playoff season a couple years ago.
All right, Steven, let me jump in here quickly because we got other folks we got to get to. I think we got your overall point. I agree that whether it's swagger, confidence, energy, desire, that you don't see them, at least I don't, bouncing up and down, going crazy at the beginning of football games. You see one mistake early in the football game that sets his team back kind of mentally. At least it seems that way. I'm not a psychologist. I can't get in their heads, but we saw the home opener against Cleveland. They were flat. Big game on Monday night against Buffalo. They were flat. I thought they were flat for the majority of the game today, which is mind-boggling when, you're the only game in town. You're playing center stage. Yes, it's 9:30 in the morning, but you're the only game that people are watching at that point in time. You finally came off a win. You're in the best position in that regards that you've been so far this season, and it's a little bit inexplicable why they can't, I don't know, match other teams' intensity. I think that's just one of the issues that's going on with this team. I don't think it's intensity that makes you drop the football that hits you in the chest. I don't know if it's nerves, if you're thinking about it, if you're worried about, I made a few mistakes last week, I can't compound that, but it seems like every opportunity they have to set themselves back, they're taking. that opportunity. Stephen, appreciate the call. For the rest of you on the line, stay right there at 355-6351, 355 NFL 1. Chicago knocks off Jacksonville 35-16. This is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Facing cancer takes a lot of determination, strength, and support. And you'll get it all at Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center. Determination from world-renowned doctors, giving you specialized treatment with cutting-edge technology and research. Strength and support from a dedicated team, caring for you completely, during and after treatment. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Appointments available at baptistmdanderson.com.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading healthcare and technology organizations nationwide to deliver workforce solutions. CSI prides itself on building meaningful relationships and provides personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Hey Jaguars fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Well, join the thousands of other Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Field is on JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jacksonville. Passes start at $10 and are available exclusively on the MyJTA mobile app. Visit JTAFLA.com for full details. The JTA Game Day Express, where you're winning before the game even starts. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens.
Calling all loyal Jags fans and loyal gate customers, football is back. And you and 3 friends could win a chance to meet Trevor Lawrence. Entering is easy. Just buy any 5 28-ounce Gatorade or Gatorade Zero products at Gate with your MyGate Rewards app and you'll be automatically entered. Not a MyGate Rewards member? Download the app and sign up today. See store for details. Alternate entry available at GatoradePromos.com/TLAW.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Chelsea here. Another month and another high utility bill. Those old windows and doors might be the culprit, letting valuable energy escape. At Renewal by Anderson, our energy-efficient windows and doors have the latest advanced technology, keeping your home comfortable all year round. Renewal by Anderson has a limited-time offer. Buy 4 windows and/or patio doors and get the 5th one free. Plus, enjoy 0 money down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Some restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for all the details. License number CGC 1527613.
Jags fall to 1-5. The Scoreboard Show continues. Chicago with a 35-16 victory over your Jacksonville Jaguars. Taking your calls at 355-NFL-1, 355-6351. We get back out to it. Philip in Arlington, you're next up on the Scoreboard Show. Philip, what's on your mind?
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Unlike the last guy, I was born and raised in Jacksonville. I've been here since day one in 1995. At what point this morning was the Jaguar fan base supposed to enjoy that? We had so much optimism before the season started. Shad Khan had optimism. He said it's time to make the playoffs. I mean, you guys stole my thunder. Right now, this team is not very good. Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be our generational quarterback. He's not playing like it. Josh Hines-Allen, he's not taking over games, man. I mean, what are we looking at here? I mean, maybe 6 wins or something. I mean, it's just so frustrating. I don't know, man. I'll take your comments up there.
All right, Philip. I understand the frustration, the exasperation, man. I mean, 6 wins would be a sports miracle at this point in time for this football team. I don't see how they're getting to 6 wins the way that they're finding creative ways to beat themselves repeatedly. I think Jaguar fans maybe right up until their second offensive drive of the game. Might have felt pretty good about themselves. You got a 3-and-out on defense right up until the point that Gabe Davis dropped a would-be touchdown. All right, but you're still up 3-0. You had a successful offensive drive. You get another 3-and-out, and that's where things really went downhill rapidly at that point in time. That's not enough. I'm not saying that you should be excited about that, but I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how you should be that excited about a 1-5 football team right now. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think was the biggest problem today. He's definitely not playing like a generational guy. I mean, Caleb Williams came in and looked like a guy who may turn out to be that in only his 6th NFL game. That's his 3rd consecutive win. He's now 4-2, and he certainly handled the Jags today. But he also came in with some great weapons. But I don't think you can knock. I think the Jags have plenty of weaponry. When they decide to hang on to the football, it doesn't all come together for this team very often. Last week, Trevor Lawrence didn't get touched once. All right, the Jags put up 37 points. The defense allowed 34. Well, you escaped with the victory, so that was good enough. But most weeks, you're not going to balance out giving up 34 points by scoring 37. You gave up 35 today, and you lost in blowout fashion. So I don't have the answers for you, Philip. I don't think anybody does. Clearly, Doug Pederson doesn't. He's exasperated as well. What should Jaguar fans do? That's really an individual choice on your part to how much mental bandwidth you're going to give the football team at this point in time. I know, like you said, Duval till you die, and I think most Jaguar fans feel that way, but that doesn't mean in the moment that it's not incredibly frustrating, painful, you name the adjective. Philip, we appreciate the call. Let's go to the south side and see what Kenneth has on his mind. Kenneth, you're on the Scoreboard Show. Go ahead, please.
Hey, how you doing? You got me?
We got you.
Oh, man, that wasn't good. But, man, there's a lot of ways I can go down this rabbit hole, what we call the Jacksonville Jaguars organization. My big thing about Jacksonville that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me is just that I think what's happening is I hear it in Doug's voice, that he actually really believes that this team is actually really good, and it almost makes me go back to that old Jaguar adage that we used to have, like Jaguar good. They're practicing against their own guys, but then when they go out and play people, the competition is better than them. It's just, to me, it just seems like I can't put a finger on it. Just like Doug was having problems with it, it doesn't make any sense why we're not better than we are. But the 1-5, being 1-5 and saying that we're a good team and stuff like that, good and 1-5 don't go together.
Yeah, I got you. Kent, let me jump in. He did say after the game, we're not a good team. He said that was his quote. We're just not a good team right now. So, look, I do think Doug Pederson knows the difference between NFL good and Jaguar good. I know anybody who's been a Jaguar fan for any period of time, we've talked about that. Like, hey, guys look good in practice because they're going up against guys on their own team, and maybe they're not that good. But this is a guy who's won a Super Bowl. He won a division title with this team. This team was 8-3 with a lot of the same core players. I think he feels like we should be getting similar results, at least, to what we've gotten over the last couple of years. And he sees them perform in practice, and he thinks, wow, they're actually executing the game plan offensively, defensively. And I really don't think it's a case of, well, he's fooled himself into thinking the guy covering the guy who made the big play is better than he is. I think he has been around the NFL long enough to know what he thinks looks like should work. And when it doesn't, you're seeing the frustration. I mean, he clearly doesn't have any answers right now. You hear every week we're getting a longer pause. Bucky Brooks, except for last week, of course, when they win. What are your thoughts on a tough loss, Doug? And it's an exhale of breath, and you wait 10 or 15 seconds for him to say something. That's probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but not much, as he just doesn't have answers at this point in time. I'm not saying that that's acceptable. I'm just saying that's the reality. I don't think he thinks his team is good. I do think he's frustrated because he's getting a better level of performance during the week, and he thinks it should translate onto Sunday, and he's been around enough to know what he feels should and should not work, taking it from the practice field to the game. But obviously, there's some kind of disconnect right now, whether it's a confidence factor, whether it's when things don't go their way early in the football game, things kind of snowball. I couldn't tell you exactly. Again, I can't psychoanalyze these guys, but there's clearly a disconnect, and you get to a point in the game where I feel like they're looking at each other like, here we go again. And when you're in that spot, it's tough to fight out of it. And, resilience, I guess we'll find out. Can they bounce back and beat the Patriots? Well, I think the Patriots are bad enough that that's a possibility next week. But right now, I couldn't pick this team to beat many teams in the National Football League with the way that they've been showing up for the first month and a half of the season. Kenneth, we appreciate the call. For the rest of you on the line, stay right there. We'll get more of your calls when we return in a moment, continuing to look back at the Bears' 35-16 victory over your Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
If you're facing cancer, you want a dedicated team working for you. At Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center, we only focus on cancer. And we partner with one of the largest cancer centers in the world. So you'll have a specialized treatment plan created by our experienced and highly trained oncologists and surgeons, collaborating with one of the country's leading cancer centers. Best of all, we're in North Florida with locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Appointments at baptistmdanderson.com.
Hey, Jaguars fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Well, join the thousands of other Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Field is on JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jacksonville. Passes start at $10 and are available exclusively on the MyJTA mobile app. Visit jtafla.com for full details. The JTA Game Day Express, where you're winning before the game even starts. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in Miami and Houston. Watch them win in Philly, Detroit, Nashville, and Las Vegas. All the other Jaguars games are just one short connection away. And if airport parking has you stressed, be sure to visit the Jax Airport website before traveling to the terminal. On it, you'll find information about the status of on-airport parking in real time. See if your favorite areas are available or if you need to call an audible. Visit flyjax.com for more information.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
The Scoreboard Show continues. Mike Dempsey here in the Hyundai Studios. Tony Smith over at Everbank. Again, a reminder, the fifth quarter coming your way as soon as we wrap up here, right around the bottom of the hour. Hacker, Dave Campo, and Leon Searcy will have that for you for a couple more hours for you to get it all off your chest. And, of course, Tony and I will be back with Jaguars today. Unfortunately, Tone, not a victory Monday. We're not starting a streak tomorrow. And that's just the way it's going to go. David Garrard will join us on 1010XL for that, as we've still got time to take more of your calls right now at 355-6351. That's 355-NFL1. Tom on the south side, you're next up on the Scoreboard Show. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, gentlemen. How are y'all today?
A bit better, but we'll live.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I know that. I'm a season ticket holder, so.
Right on.
I got a favor to ask after I make a little question and a statement. the question and statement is, I think that Parker Washington should be starting at wide receiver instead of Gabe Davis.
Okay.
And also think that Tate Bisbee should be starting at running back. And Trevor needs to learn that he cannot outthrow MJ Jr. You cannot outthrow the man. The man is too good of a wide receiver and too fast. And then the favor I have is please tell Frank Frangie that Tom said hello. He'll know Tom because my older brother was a starting quarterback for the Inglewood Rams the year before we graduated from high school.
All right, Tom.
I graduated with Frank.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll pass that along. We appreciate the call. I'll say Parker Washington plays the slot. And I'm not saying he can't play outside, but he's not going to play over Christian Kirk in the slot. Could he play some outside? Look, you balance it out with, okay, yeah, Gabe Davis had some drops today. And on the two drive, and I'm not trying to excuse Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis has had a lot of errors in his game recently. But at least on the two drives where he had the first one, they got a field goal. The second one, they had another drop touchdown by Brian Thomas, but Davis actually caught a touchdown on that drive to kind of make up for it. Although at that point, time was, so critical that you couldn't afford to waste anymore. I don't see that move as one that's going to be made anytime soon. I do think you might see a few more two tight end sets, as we talked about in the pregame, with Evan Ingram and Brenton Strange, and then, having Kirk and BTJ out there. And I think, Tony, we're going to get our wish. It is my guess, at least. When you leave a game with a hamstring injury and you don't return, chances are you're probably not suiting up at least next week. So we may get a look at Tank Bigsby for an extended period next week as the starter.
Yeah, today was a weird day with the way they were using the running backs anyway, right? Once Etienne got hurt, we didn't see a bunch of Tank in the game today. So for whatever myriad of reasons they were doing that, we saw a lot of Dearness Johnson, and maybe that's a game flow thing. But when we talk about, opportunities within games to win, I get it. Gabe caught a couple of touchdowns, could have caught a couple of more, but the one they needed to maybe have been a difference in how the game went was the first one.
Yeah.
That's just where the crucial moment was with the ball that was thrown to him. He didn't make the catch. Good on him that he made a couple other ones. He had made a good third down catch on that drive, and you almost exhale with what had gone on with him through the first 5 weeks of the season. Then he has the opportunity on 3rd and goal, and it just, what are we doing? How are we back in this place with this guy? 7-0 is so different. And even after that, when Chicago got some things going, there was an opportunity later for it to be a one-score game if he had just caught the ball, right, in that situation, but he didn't do it. So whatever he accomplished today, I don't think that's bigger than the drop on that first drive.
Yeah, I don't doubt that drop took some wind out of the sails, if you want to use that cliche, whatever. But this team does need to be able to overcome. Okay, we had a 9-play drive. We got a 3-and-out on defense. Immediately after that, we put points on the board. It's not the end of the game, okay? You cost 4 points. We should have had 4 more points on that. It's a little bit deflating, but then your defense goes out and gets you the ball right back, and you do nothing with it. So, I feel like we're at the point now where if all these things go, if it went this way, and went this way, well, okay, let's say he did catch that touchdown. I don't think watching the rest of this game that is enough psychologically that would have made up the deficit that the Jags had with the Bears today. So, they just need to find a way to overcome some of these mistakes that they're making, because every team's going to make them. It's how you respond to them. That's the key. Pierre is in California, and he's checking in on the Scoreboard Show. Go ahead, Pierre.
What's going on?
What's up?
Man, it's rough. It's like the team just has no energy. And it's hard because they told us the expectations for this season. All I got to say is, man, we got a new stadium coming. It doesn't matter how pretty that stadium is if we don't have the product to go out there and perform. We got the quarterback. It's just the team just has no energy. And as fans, you can see it on the TV. You can just feel it. But as you guys know, they're going to play these games. So they got to find energy some way, somehow. I'm going to keep it positive, guys. Duval.
All right, Pierre. Appreciate it. Look, you say they have to find it somewhere, or they don't, right? And if they don't, we'll just get a lot more of this kind of result the rest of the way. I can't tell you whether or not they're going to be able to summon up that intestinal fortitude, because this season is slipping away if it hasn't already slipped at 1-5. You lose to the Patriots next week, Tone, and you can forget it. I mean, every national discussion that involves the Jags are just going to be about how they're in line for the first pick in the draft next year and all that comes with it. And so we'll find out if they can respond. We'll find out if they get that intestinal fortitude or that energy or whatever, that touchy-feely thing that we're looking for. How about just play better? How about just execute the plays that are out there for you to make? When the ball hits you in the chest, I don't think it matters how enthusiastic you are about catching it. Catch the thing. So, anyway, a little frustration on my end as well. 35-16, Chicago over Jacksonville, your final score. We'll come back. One more segment of your calls at 355-NFL-1. This is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Calling all loyal Jags fans and loyal Gate customers, football is back. And you and 3 friends could win a chance to meet Trevor Lawrence. Entering is easy. Just buy any 5 28-ounce Gatorade or Gatorade Zero products at Gate with your MyGate Rewards app, and you'll be automatically entered. Not a MyGate Rewards member? Download the app and sign up today. See store for details. Alternate entry available at GatoradePromos.com/TLAW.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading healthcare and technology organizations nationwide to deliver workforce solutions. CSI prides itself on building meaningful relationships and provides personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 177, has been powering Jacksonville since 1912. Powering where we compete, where we're entertained, our bridges and highways, and where we live and work. IBEW 177 has been powering Jacksonville for more than a century and will continue long into the future. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 177, is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with Everbank. Open an Everbank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. Everbank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Final few minutes here of the Scoreboard Show. Jags fall to the Chicago Bears 35-16. Of course, next week they'll take on the New England Patriots with another 9:30 a.m. kickoff from Wembley Stadium in London. Mike Dempsey here at the Miller Electric Center in the Hyundai Studios. Tony Smith over at Everbank as the rest of the crew has shut it down over there in London as they pack up and get ready to have another week of practice and go back at it again. Tone, as you mentioned, they're going to play these games. They're not going to shut it down. You got to show up, and if you let it take your will, all you're going to do is get smashed every single week. At least they've been more competitive than this in 4 out of the 6 games, but that hasn't resulted in many wins so far this year. So let's find out what's on folks' minds here in the final few minutes of 355 NFL 1. Jalen is on the west side, and he's next up on the Scoreboard Show. Hi, Jalen.
Good morning. I'm going to say this. I'm going to take a little heat off the Doug because, I mean, and the offense. I mean, the offense had their moments, but I feel like we can't even just stay on the play calling because the turnovers with the fumbles and interceptions. So I feel like the offense did okay, but my main problem is the defense today. It was just horrific. You know, we couldn't adjust. We couldn't. I just feel like this whole game was on defense. Now, offense had its moments, but we couldn't really see too much because Caleb Williamson was on the field so much. So I just feel like it's on the defense on the side.
All right. Look, that's your point of view. I'm not saying it's unfair. I think maybe more so on the defense today, but I feel like the offense contributed to this one a bunch as well. And really, it felt like Caleb Williams was out there. He was just productive when he was out there. Bears had the ball for 30 minutes and 40 seconds. Jags had it for 29-20. So talking about a minute and 20 seconds difference in time of possession. The Jags had a couple of really long drives out there, and it just – that's the thing. They didn't hit the big plays today. No quick strike, and they didn't always finish off those long drives with touchdowns. So, there was plenty of blame to go around. I have no problem if you want to place more of it on the defense today with a rookie quarterback putting up 35 points, but there are plenty of issues offensively going on with this team as well. Jalen, we appreciate the call. Final one in today on the Scoreboard Show will be Steve, also on the west side. Steve, what you got for us?
Hey there. I've been a NFL fan since I was a kid, and living here in Jacksonville, I used to go to AFL exhibition games at the old Gator Bowl. So I've been watching it my whole life, and I don't presume to be some NFL whiz kid, but when does somebody kind of start wondering if the Jaguars didn't jump the gun on Trevor Lawrence when he only had one good season, good in college, but he only had one good NFL season, and we give him a $275 million contract that he's obviously not living up to. That's one question I have. Another is, a second is, how many years and how many sportscasters like all of you been doing this same post-game conversation with the Jaguars? How many years? 20? I don't know. I don't get
I'm not
it.
sure what you mean by the same post-game conversation. What are you saying?
Well, the same things about the team. They're better than this. I believe they are, but I just keep
okay.
having conversations because the team lost.
Look,
that's what I'm talking about.
I got you.
All these years
right.
and years and years of post-game, and I don't know. I just wonder when do the fans get the? I watched so many games after the Jaguar games, the 4:00 game, the Sunday night, the Monday night, and I see quarterbacks doing these awesome things on the field, and I bet I've said it 100 times. Well, why can't we do that?
All right, and Steve, let me jump in because we're almost out of time here. Look. All we can do is react to what we see in these post-game shows, and then you said towards the end, it's more about how long are we going to lose. Couldn't tell you, Nobody here wants them to lose. Nobody here wants to feel like they're better than their record indicates. Look, there have been plenty of times when they haven't been better than their record indicates, and quite frankly, it is the NFL, so you are, again, what your record says you are, the infamous Bill Parcells quote, and the Jags right now are a 1-5 team that is arguably the worst in the National Football League. I only say arguably because I don't watch every other team day in, day out the way I do the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're certainly deserving of being in that conversation. As far as Trevor Lawrence, did they pay him too early? People said that some did when they paid him. That's a whole other conversation that we don't have time to get into every angle of, you're either going to pay your quarterback or you're starting over from scratch, basically, in the National Football League. Could they have waited a year? Perhaps they could have, but they decided he was the guy based on what they saw. Not only, you say one good year, I feel like they felt it was probably more of about a year and a half of this, the second half, 2/3 of 2022, particularly the second half. And then he led them to an 8-3 record to start the year last year. And they felt like it was more, I think, the injuries that mounted that kept him from being that same guy down the stretch. Look, I'm not trying to make excuses. It is what it is. I'm just trying to tell you where they may be coming from as far as that goes. But look, we've got plenty of time to discuss it, and we will all week long. Jaguars today, Monday through Friday, 10 to noon right here on 1010XL. Tomorrow, Jags AM on Jaguars.com and Jags YouTube, and Jaguars Happy Hour every Monday from 4 to 6. Of course, you're going to get the fifth quarter coming up here momentarily with Hacker, Dave Campo, and Leon Searcy, so you can continue to break this one down. 35-16. Thanks to everybody who helped put this one on, from Linda Fortunato, Tony Smith, Donna Murphy, everybody with the London crew, the traveling crew, including Brian Sexton and Bucky Brooks for helping me out on the postgame show today. I'm Mike Dempsey. We appreciate you listening to Jaguar Football. Win or lose, we're showing up again next Sunday for another 9:30 a.m. kickoff when they take on the New England Patriots. That does it for the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.